You know how it is, right? Every year, millions of us decide, okay, this is the year. The year we're going to get in shape, learn that new skill, finally start that big project. But so often, that huge burst of motivation just kind of fizzles out by February. So, what does real lasting transformation actually look like? So, check this out. A user on Reddit shared this absolutely incredible 1 year change. In just 12 months, they claimed to have more than doubled their salary, lost 45 pounds, and slashed their screen time from a crazy 8+ hours a day down to less than 2. I mean, that's the kind of insane result most of us only dream about. And that immediately makes you wonder, right? How on earth is a change that massive even possible in such a short amount of time? Is it just about having some kind of superhuman willpower, or is there something else going on here? Well, according to the Post, the secret is right here. This whole transformation didn't happen because of some temporary feeling or a vague New Year's resolution. Nope. It happened because the person actually committed and built real, concrete systems that basically forced them to follow through day in and day out. And that idea, that's what we're going to unpack. Okay, so gotta be real here. This story comes from a single Reddit post. And yeah, a lot of people questioned if it was even true. But honestly, for what we're talking about today, it doesn't really matter. The principle behind it, this idea of systems over motivation, that's the important part. And it's backed by some solid science and really fascinating data. So, how does building a system actually, you know, change you? Well, it literally rewires your brain. And to get how that works, we need to take a quick look at the neuroscience of how our habits get formed in the first place. The whole scientific foundation for this is something called Hebbian theory. Now, let's break that down. The simple version is that every time you do something, the brain cells, the neurons, involved in that action get a little bit better at talking to each other. Think of it like walking through a forest. The first time, there's no path, but the more you walk it, the clearer and easier that path becomes. That's exactly what's happening inside your head. And this all gets boiled down to one really famous, catchy phrase. Neurons that fire together wire together. Every single time you practice a new habit, hitting the gym, learning an instrument, whatever, you are paving a neural highway. You're making it easier and way more automatic to travel down that same path the next time. And what's so cool about this is that it's not some kind of magic, right? It's just mechanics. You do something over and over again, which lights up the same circuits in your brain. And with every repetition, the connections between those neurons get stronger and stronger. The signal gets louder. And pretty soon, that action feels less like a chore you have to choose to do and more like something you just do. That's the physical reality of a habit being born. All right, so that's the science, but does this whole fire together, wire together thing actually work out there in the real world, like at a huge scale? Oh, absolutely. Let's look at how AI is using this exact concept to change behavior for millions of people. And yeah, we are not talking about some tiny little lab study. This number, 1.1 million people, are getting daily, personalized AI-driven messages or nudges designed to do one thing: help them build healthier habits. It is Hebbian theory, totally supercharged with modern technology. Okay, I know this looks kind of complicated, but the idea behind it is actually super simple. The system, it's called NudgeRank. It gathers data over on the left, your activity, your demographics. Then in the middle, its AI brain crunches all that to figure out the perfect little supportive message just for you. Then on the right, it zaps that personalized nudge to your phone at the perfect time. It's creating that consistent stimulation your brain needs to wire up new, healthier pathways. And the crazy part? It actually works. A massive study found that people getting these AI nudges walked over 6% more and exercised over 7.5% more than people who didn't get them. This isn't just a guess. This is hard evidence that a well-designed external system can create real, measurable, positive change. Okay, so having a great external system, clearly a game changer. But let's be real for a second. Even with the perfect plan or the fanciest app, we can still be our own worst enemy. Why? Because sometimes the biggest battle isn't out there, it's inside our own heads. When you look at why people don't reach their goals, it usually comes down to these same old culprits. That fear of failure that stops you from even trying, the lack of self-belief that just whispers, you can't do this, and of course, good old motivation that just seems to disappear. You can think of them as bugs in our internal operating system, and one of the biggest ones is perfectionism. Let's zoom in on that one, perfectionism, because it's a sneaky one. It pretends to be about having high standards, But really, it's just fear in disguise. This one little thought, I can't start until I know it'll be perfect, is the ultimate killer of progress. It paralyzes you. It makes sure you never even take the first step.
So, what's the fix? Well, you have to consciously flip the script in your head. Just forget about flawless. Instead, aim for good enough progress. The whole point is just to get moving, to take action, get some feedback from the world, and then adjust. That is how you build momentum and actually get somewhere. All right, we've covered the brain science, we've looked at the cool tech, and we've talked about the psychology. Now, let's put it all together into a practical framework you can actually use to build your own system for change. Okay, here it is, your blueprint. First, get super specific. Pick 3 to 5 goals you can actually measure, so your brain knows exactly what the target is. Second, get an external system for accountability, an app, a buddy, a coach, something to keep you honest. Third, and this is so important, commit for at least 60 days. That gives your brain's neurons enough time and repetition to really start wiring together a solid new habit. Fourth, set up your environment for success. Get rid of the distractions that fire up the old habits you're trying to break. And finally, track your progress. What gets measured gets managed. Simple as that. And that's really the magic of it, right? This isn't just a random list of tips. It's a way to apply that fire together, wire together principle to your own life. You are literally building an external structure that helps you do the work needed to physically rewire your internal hardware for success. And, that original Reddit post ended with this line that it really hits you. It frames the choice not as a chore for today, but as a decision about how your future self is going to feel a year from now. It's about doing something today that you'll thank yourself for later. So that really brings us to the final question, and this one's for you. It doesn't have to be some massive life overhaul starting tomorrow. It can be small. What's just one simple system you can build for yourself starting today?